Hi everyone, welcome to this Rhyme Reacts video and our countdown to Rotterdam. We only have 29 days until the first semi-final of this year's Eurovision Song Contest, so we are looking back at our favourite entries from the 39 competing countries in this year's competition. And for this video, we are looking at the entries from Serbia. Now, Serbia, formerly known as Serbia Montenegro, competed in 2004 and 2005. And then they split, missed 2006, and then debuted as an independent nation in 2007, which I'm sure many of you may remember as Serbia won on their debut. So looking back at our favourite songs from Serbia, joining me again is my very good friend Scott from Scotland, this time live from the Serbian capital. Good evening.
Hello.
So, kicking things off, my third favourite Serbian entry of all time. I'm going to go back to the Serbian debut. It was 2007, Maria and the song Molitva, which I believe means destiny. It won the contest in Helsinki, and for me, rightly so. There was some tough competition, but for me, the right song won in the night. This was one of the first competitions I really remember watching. I watched a few beforehand, but 2007 was the first year I remember quite clearly. And for me, this was the standout. It was sincere, it was heartfelt, it was powerful. I thought the staging was right. It was simple, just the red and the black reflected their outfits. Maria was the main focus with her female entourage of backing vocalists. But it was so powerful, and you could just see how much emotion and feeling there was behind the song. I also remember with Helsinki and the staging that the audience almost looked like they were on stage with her in some camera angles. She was very close, and just the flags and the power, it was a moment in this year, and for me it was a deserving So, number 3 from you, Scott.
So, following Serbia's win, Belgrade hosted the Eurovision Song Contest in 2008. And I'm actually going to choose the host nation as my third favourite. So it's performed by Jelena Tomacevic with the song Oro. Now, I thought this was very ethnic, using just the traditional instruments. I thought her vocal was spot on. I loved the lighting during the performance. And yes, it was a dreamy sort of ballet, but it built up and became really dramatic at the end. And I thought for the home nation, she finished 6th on the night. For a home nation, that was a great result.
Definitely.
They could have actually won 2 years in a row, really.
That was a strong entry, and for the host, which seems to be kind of a bit of a nail in the coffin in recent years, 6th place, a really credible result there. So going to our second favourite entries from Serbia, this time I'm going back to 2015. This is Boiana, I hope is pronounced, and the song Beauty Never Lies. This was one where in the run-up to the contest, I didn't listen to it hugely. It was kind of there in the back of my mind, and it was a bit of a fun camp bop, but I wasn't really sure how it was going to play out. But on the night, or once in the semi-final, this came alive. I thought they staged this beautifully in Vienna. Again, they kept the camp quirkiness with the costume changes. She with her glittered hair, beehive almost, the big dress. She was a big girl with a big voice, and you can see in the arena in the semi-final and the final, the crowd go absolutely mental for it. Similar to Israel of that year, Golden Boy. These were 2 acts that I thought could have won it on the night because they were less serious, but you could just see the arena living for it and loving the performances. I think on the night 14th, no, that's a complete lie, 10th, she fell into the top 10, which I think is really deserved. 2015 was a strong year, but I generally thought in the final she could have been a dark horse. Wasn't meant to be, but still a really, really standout from Serbia. So, Scott, your runner-up.
I'm sure you've been listening to me because I was in that arena that night. And I said the biggest cheers on the night, doesn't necessarily translate to votes, but the biggest cheers on the night were Israel and Serbia. What I liked about Boiana's performance, I also liked her Serbian version that she done in the national final. Actually, at times I actually preferred that one. What I liked about it was she still kept the theme from her national final performance, in which her costume change was revealed and the backing dancers remained the same. Mm-hmm. And then she just flipped that around when it came to the Eurovision itself, that she stayed in the same outfit, but the surprise element was that her backing singers, they had a costume reveal. But yeah, it was a great entry for them. I'm going to move on to my second place. It comes 2 years later when we go to Kiev. It is a song In Too Deep by Tijana Bogicevic. Mm-hmm. She just missed out on a place in the grand final. She came 11th in the semi. She had opened that semi. I think initially they were saying that there were sound problems for the first few open songs into that semi. I remember being there in the arena for that semi-final. And it came across okay, but I love the studio version of that song. I'm not sure whether the staging worked, but yeah, I met her in person. She was a great character, and yeah, there's something just about that song that I really like.
Somebody save me tonight. Feel like I've been sentenced to love. I'm falling so deep, I'm in too deep.
Well, when making this list, that I was torn between Molitva and In Too Deep to go in my top three. I think when looking back, I just kind of remembered that feeling of watching Molitva for the first time and just kind of feeling that moment. I love the studio version of In Too Deep. I was slightly disappointed in the live performance. I thought that they could have just done something more. It was a bit too simple on stage for quite a big song. I also remember really not liking the outfit, the kind of like white wedding dress mesh. I think it would have been fine, but with the lighting, because there was so much lighting behind her, you could just see her legs in this white drape. It was just a bit off-putting. But still, I do think that there were worse songs that qualified over that. I would have liked to have seen Serbia qualify that year. But no, completely agree. Studio version, it's a great song. So that brings us to our number ones from Serbia. And for me, I'm going back just a few years further back, this time Dusseldorf, back in the 2011 contest. The artist was Nina. The song was Karoban, I think pronounced. Now, you may not be a fan here, but this placed 14th in the grand final. What I love about this is I'm a big fan of the kind of like 70s swinger, almost more, you know, that kind of like Austin Powers, soul bossa nova style. I thought this was really different to anything else that was in that competition. It had the kind of like the kind of retro, not retro, but kind of like 70s colors, the earrings, the choreography. I will say some of the LED images in the background were so kind of funky. It was almost like you were being a bit slightly hypnotized. But when the camera kind of like pans into her and the three backing vocalists, this was just a bit of a bop. I'm really glad that she kept it in Serbian, because I know that they were toying about having it as an English performance. I like both versions, but I'm glad that they stuck with Serbian there. And yeah, I just really, really like it. And again, when looking at my recap to decide which songs, this wasn't actually one that I was thinking about. But once I watched it again, I just instantly remembered and recognized how much I loved that on the night. So, Nina, Karaban, my number one. Scott, to you.
So I'm going to go back to 2012, and this song came third for Serbia. It was a returning artist. It was Zeljko Joksimovic with his song Neja Ljubav Stvar. I think I pronounced that right. This was his return to the Eurovision. He came second for Serbia and Montenegro in 2004, and he'd written a few songs in the time since. What I like about this song, I'm glad that he sang it in Serbian. Serbia often have this debate whether they'll sing in English or in Serbian, and they're very proud of their language. So that's why you see the majority, even in this day when there's no language rule, that they still prefer to sing in Serbian. But what I liked about this one, it was just very melancholy. It was a little, in a way, perhaps without the rock element, it was a little bit like a Coldplay kind of song. It would just start off very, very softly and then just build towards the end. And as a male vocalist, he's perhaps one of the strongest male vocalists we've ever had at Eurovision. And I remember nobody was really looking at this song prior to the actual final. And I knew with the quality of songs that he writes, particularly since 2004, Europe has seemed to embrace all these ethnic songs with their flutes and with their violins. I thought he may be one to watch. And yeah, he came third.
And I think what's really recommendable here is when you look at 2012 and you think Euphoria, the likes of the Russian Grannies, there were some really big, bold performances. For a very slow, quite quiet and peaceful Serbian ballad to sneak in and get third place, a really, really well-deserved result there. Would I ranked it that high myself? Possibly not. But when you look back at Serbia's entries, that's probably one with like some of the best quality that they've actually come along with. There was no gimmicks. There was nothing fun or funky or silly about it. It was just really meaningful, very calm, and it stood out for the right reasons.
Yeah, one thing I just want to add is in very similar ways, Serbia is quite like Ireland in the sense that they do send quality songs. Now, whether that's a quality pop song or a quality ballad, but Serbia produce well-polished, well-produced songs to the Eurovision, regardless whether it's in English or in Serbian. I think maybe the only year that it didn't really work out for Serbia was perhaps 2009 with the guy with the polishing shoes. That didn't. But every other time, Serbia is a song that I really, as a country, shall I say, that I really look forward to hearing what their entry is.
Yeah, absolutely. They often come with quality. They're often a strong contender, maybe not necessarily for the win, but you can expect them to come with something that would usually do well.
The challenge top 10, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. So there we go. They are our thoughts, feelings, and favourites from Serbia throughout the history of the contest. Let us know your favourite Serbian entry of all time. As always, like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe. Do what you got to do. Big thanks to Scott for joining, and a big thank you to you guys for watching. Take care. Bye.